Hello there, Tom Holyby with Ashguard Defense. I want to talk about light placement. Now, I like a 6 o'clock light. That means mounting it at the 6 o'clock position. And there's a reason why. So, in order to decide where we want to mount the light, we have to establish whether or not we can mount the light where we want to. I can mount this light anywhere I want on this rail. That's the wonders of the 21st century and technology, is you can put flashlights pretty much anywhere you want. So if I can place a flashlight here, that's where it's going to go. On some rifles, specifically AKs, you don't necessarily have that ability. This is the Ultimac rail, and if I were to try to mount it down here, I don't have enough space for my hand. And so where you can, that's where you mount it. But there's a reason for the 6 o'clock position in particular, and that has everything to do with shadow cast. So if I take this and I put that light on the skull there, you'll see this dark spot come right here. That's the shadow. And that will be what is known as your dark spot. So something to do in your home in the dark is run around your home with the flashlight in different positions. Having the flashlight on the bottom puts the shadow up on the ceiling. Chances that somebody is hiding on my ceiling are rather low, unless of course it's Spider-Man or Batman. And if it's Spider-Man or Batman, then I'm doing something wrong. They're not doing something wrong. I'm the one who's in the wrong. But we can examine this if we mount it over here on the 9 o'clock position. So just by rotating the rifle, put the light on there, you'll see that the dark spot is now over here on the right side. And if we rotate it 180 degrees, put the flashlight on the right side, the shadow is now on the left side. This can be problematic if you're running this CQB stuff, the home defense scenario, because that is a fraction of a second, sometimes a little bit longer depending, in which you don't have the full picture and somebody nefarious, right? So if you take good old Steve here, Steve is now hiding in the dark spot. And remember, you can see Steve super well right now because it's sunny out. But in the dark with pitch black conditions or extremely low light conditions, doing this makes this shadowy spot not just slightly shadowed, but black, because you have saturation of light. So if you're coming in to a room and you start here, now my light's on, and what my peripheral would have caught with Steve now misses Steve because the dark spot is extra dark. And just for shits and ha-has, if we did the 12 o'clock mount lighting position, now the shadow spot is on the ground. Almost 100% of people can lay down on the ground quite easily. And so if you're coming in and now the ground is shadow, there's a problem, because now my dark spot is in the ground. I have to physically go woo to check the ground. So that's just why I prefer to put a flashlight on the 6 o'clock position. And you'll notice on every rifle that I have where I can mount a light there, that is where a light is going to get mounted. And as a result of which, usually they have a pressure switch attached to them so that I can accommodate for that 6 o'clock mounting position. So that's just a bit. And if I can't get it on the 6 o'clock, what I will do is I will try to get the light as forward mounted as I can. You'll see that there's about 3 inches, maybe 2.5 inches worth of distance between the edge or the emission cap and the muzzle. And so if we just use the same technique here, now what happens is that shadow cast gets put way down low and it's off to the side, which means Steve is going to have a little bit harder time hiding in that dark spot unless he is crouched down in this corner of my view. And if I switch, I can't really switch it over, but you know, you're gonna have to use your imagination on this, and it's just gonna look a bit like that. So where you put your flashlights, it does make a difference. It does matter, and it's something that you, as the civilian defender, should absolutely experiment with for some time. Don't make an assessment because you saw a guy on the YouTubes or the Instagrams or wherever. Well, he puts it at the 12 o'clock and it's like up there, and he does the C-clamp, and that's fantastic for him. That's the skill set he knows. Is it necessarily what you know? More importantly, does it accommodate to your environment? What's nice about a home defense rifle versus what the military guys have to do, or the cops, is your home defense rifle can be completely designed with your home in mind. You should know the layout of where you live like the back of your hand and be able to run it in the dark. So you know where your left turns and your right turns are. You know when you should be switching hands and when you shouldn't be switching hands. That's kind of the advantage. And so I want you to go out and take full advantage. Evaluate every piece of your rifle. Does this fit my home entirely, right? And it doesn't have to be with rifle. It can be with shotgun or even pistol. You know, and I always find it funny because when we talk about flashlights on weapons, we often don't think about how on a handgun there's only the 6 o'clock position for the flashlight to be mounted to. So, and if you think about, if we do this, the flashlight is ahead of the muzzle in this case. And the reason why nobody complains is because it cannot emit a shadow, because there's nothing obstructing the light. So that's just something that I've spent some time thinking about, and I like to observe not just students but other instructors when they do rifle classes or pistol classes. You know, how did they set that up? And then I try to figure out whys. You know, the whys, the wheres, the hows, the whens, the whatevers. And I noticed that a lot of dudes are building out their rifles based off of team-based ideations, meaning that so they'll do this little number here without thought to that shadow cast in the slightest bit. Likely because in a team-based environment, they're going to have friends. So if I'm looking to the right, or I'm sorry, the left, your right, and my friend's looking to the right, the whole environment is lit up versus what I have to illuminate. And so that's where that 6 o'clock lighting position comes from, is where's that shadow cast? Because remember, that's going to be stupid dark. I'm okay with it being stupid dark on the ceiling. I'm not so okay with it being stupid dark on the ground. Oops, sorry, strobe. Or on any of the corners, right? And actually, I can just turn this on indefinite, right? So again, you just look at where that shadow cast goes. How are we obstructing? And if I took the silencer off, hang on, let me turn the light off. I shoot it a lot and I don't take it off. So if I take that off and then I turn the flashlight all the way on, you'll see there's no shadow cast. Or it's so far away that it's almost negligible altogether. Try to put the shadow actually on the skull. There you go. Right, you see how far away that light dot is versus the shadow. So that's something else to think about. This is the Sandman K. I bought this before Sandman was having technical difficulties, so don't make commentary, but I chose the K specifically because it was shorter. I'm well aware that they get longer, and with the longer silencer, they get a lot quieter. Couple of problems I had with that. Number one is length. This is a home defense rifle. Bang! Oh, door frame. Bang! Bed frame. Bang! Hallway. Right? But the other piece of it was, how far out do I want that shadow cast? Right? How much of that silencer do I want to obstruct my ability to see? Especially in the dark, when everything is scary, you know. So, anyways, that's just some notations I had on light placement. Obviously, you can do whatever you want, but just be aware that there are some downsides depending on where you put a flashlight and how you mount a flashlight. Anyways, I hope this helps someone out there. Have a good one. Bye.